morning, everyone. The top story on Dispatch, though, is from Balakot. All eyes are now on the Bahawalpur headquarters, which is where the Jaish-e-Mohammed operates out of. WION has accessed the latest visuals of Masood Azhar's den in Bahawalpur. On your screens is the sprawling compound, which has been the headquarters of terror. Ironically, this heartland is now being guarded by Pakistan's police force. You can see armed policemen positioned right outside the enormous steel gates of the compound. Safeguarding terror is ironical, but the irony, remember, is not new to Pakistan, an irony that has repeatedly been lost on the country. Jaish-e-Mohammed is the same terror group that attacked a convoy of Indian security forces in Jammu and Kashmir's Pulwama area. The Jaish admitted to loading a vehicle with explosives and ramming it into a bus ferrying Indian CRPF personnel. 40 Indian soldiers died, and India and Pakistan were almost brought to the brink of war. Now, rising tensions between the nuclear-armed neighbors set alarms off across the world, but it's business as usual in Bahawalpur, where emotions run high in favor of the Jaish-e-Mohammed. The group wields significant influence over the locals, a fact that is evident from the manner in which they refer to the terror group.
वो इस्लाम फैलाना चाह रहे हैं, कोई दहशतगर्दी कोई कुछ नहीं। हमने उनके पीछे नमाज पढ़ी, अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह, खुदा को जान देनी, ये बिल्कुल काम, ये गलत है। कोई ऐसा काम नहीं है, बिल्कुल नहीं।
Pakistan has repeatedly claimed that it has cracked down on terror. The Imran Khan government says that it believes in a zero-tolerance policy on terrorism. In fact, Pakistan's counter-terrorism agency says that the government has outlawed 68 militant groups, including the Jaish-e-Mohammed. But this sight of a police cover for a UN-designated terror group tells a rather different story altogether.
Various Pakistani governments had promised to take action, but they have not done so. So problem is that it has come back to haunt Pakistan, not only because of it poses a great dangers to Pakistan's own national internal security, but also actually there's always a danger that they could use Pakistani soil to launch attack across the border.
The Pakistani government has taken control of the Jamaat-ud-Dawa headquarters 2 days after banning the JUD and its charity wing, the Falai-e-Insaniyat Foundation, or the FIF. Pakistani authorities have now sealed the Lahore headquarters of the two Hafiz Saeed-led outfits as part of its ongoing crackdown against terror groups in the country. Now, Pakistan's Punjab Home Ministry has said that they have taken complete control of the banned JUD headquarters in the cities of Lahore and Muridke. Now, remember, just 2 days ago, local authorities had taken controls of mosques, seminaries and other institutions run by the JUD in Pakistan's capital, Islamabad. Meanwhile, a total of 121 members of banned groups have so far been taken into quote-unquote preventive detention across Pakistan. After sealing the headquarters of the Jamaat-ud-Dawa in Lahore, Pakistan has barred the Mumbai attacks mastermind Hafiz Saeed from delivering the weekly Friday sermon at the JUD headquarters. This is the first time in years that Saeed will not be delivering the Friday sermon despite being present in Lahore. Saeed has never been stopped from delivering these prayers. Now, the senior official said that Saeed's request to be allowed to give the Friday sermon at the mosque was rejected since the premises had been sealed. Hours later, Saeed went into hiding. He skipped the Friday prayers after he was denied permission to give the sermon. This is the first time he has skipped Friday prayers as well. He's always been present at these congregations despite such takeovers in the past by Pakistani authorities. The Pakistan government has barred the Reuters team from going to Jabba Top, the area where India conducted airstrikes on a JEM terror camp. Now, this area is some 20 kilometers outside of Balakot, a town in Pakistan's Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province. Pakistan has blocked Reuters reporters for a third time in 9 days from visiting the attack site. Pakistani security officials are guarding the site and have cited security concerns for denying access. The Pakistani military's press wing has called off visits to the site twice already. They've cited weather and organizational reasons to deny access. An official later claimed that the visit won't be possible for a while due to security concerns. I must remind our viewers at this point, though, that it was the WION team that was first to be denied access to Java Top, very close to where the Indian Air Force carried out the strikes on February 26. That was when the IAF fighter jets entered Pakistani airspace and dropped bombs on Java Top. India said that it hit buildings inside the Jaish-e-Mohammed complex. Pakistan permitted a local United Nations team to visit Balakot. However, they were limited to viewing the forested area where Pakistan claims India struck trees in its February 26th airstrike. Pakistan had said that it would allow journalists access as well to prove its stand that nothing had been struck by the Indian jets. But it seems that it has had a change of heart and doesn't want journalists visiting the area at all. This decision comes nearly 2 weeks after India conducted a preemptive aerial operation on terror infrastructure in Balakot. However, Pakistan has repeatedly denied that India struck its intended targets through the airstrikes. Now, in light of simmering tensions between India and Pakistan, China has said that the two neighbours should resolve their issues through dialogue. Beijing has asked both sides to exercise restraint. The Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi has said that China hopes that India and Pakistan can transform their crisis into opportunity. But it needs to be noted that at a time when the world is taking a stand against terror and pointedly standing by India in its fight against the menace, China has once again shied away from calling out Pakistan and from asking Imran Khan's government to act effectively against terror. But in what can be seen as a balancing act, the Chinese foreign minister praised India-China ties, saying that the trust between the two countries had deepened after Prime Minister Narendra Modi's 2018 meeting with Chinese Premier Xi Jinping in Wuhan. He appealed for India and China to work together as partners in progress.
The historic meeting between President Xi and Prime Minister Modi in Wuhan created a new model of high-level interactions between our two countries. It not just deepened the trust and friendship between our leaders, but also set the direction for our future relations. As two ancient civilizations with a combined population of 2.7 billion, two large developing countries and neighbors, China and India should be each other's partner in pursuing our respective dreams and each other's important opportunity for growing our respective economies. Collectively, we must make our due contribution to Asia's revitalization and prosperity.
In India, there's been a major development. The top court has referred the Ayodhya-Babri land dispute for mediation. The court constituted a panel of mediators which will be headed by the former top court judge, Justice F.M. Kalifullah. It will comprise spiritual guru Sri Sri Ravi Shankar and the advocate Sri Ram Panchu. Significantly, the court has asked the media to not report on the mediation proceedings. The timing of the court order is also important since the mediation proceedings have to be completed within 8 weeks, but the first status report has to be filed within 4 weeks, just before India goes to elections. The venue of the mediation efforts will be the town of Faizabad in Uttar Pradesh, where the proceedings will be held in camera. The bench, headed by Chief Justice Ranjan Gogoi, had reserved the order on the plea on the 6th of March. The reference to mediation had attracted opposition from some Hindu groups. The court has maintained that the focus of mediation is to arrive at a permanent solution to the long-standing dispute.
देखिए, सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने क्लियर तौर से ये मैटर मीडिएशन को भेजा है। जस्टिस कलीफुल्ला जो सुप्रीम कोर्ट के रिटायर्ड जज हैं, वो मीडिएशन के चेयरमैन रहेंगे। श्री श्री रविशंकर जो एक सामाजिक कार्यकर्ता हैं, वो इस मैटर में मीडिएशन रहेंगे और जस्टिस पंचू इस मैटर में मीडिएशन रहेंगे। ये मामला फैजाबाद में होगा। 8 हफ्ते के अंदर मीडिएटर को अपनी रिपोर्ट सुप्रीम कोर्ट के सामने सबमिट करनी है और सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने क्लियर तौर से मीडिया को मना किया है, मीडिया इलेक्ट्रॉनिक और प्रिंट दोनों को इस मैटर की रिपोर्टिंग करने से।
Meanwhile, the convener of the Babri Mosque Action Committee welcomed the court decision and reiterated that they would fully cooperate with the mediation panel.
Strict confidentiality will be maintained in the mediation. And we have already said that we will cooperate with the mediation Therefore, mediation panel has been constituted, and now whatever we have to say, we will say before the mediation panel, not outside.
Now, the dispute involves 2.77 acres of land in Ayodhya, where a 16th century mosque built by the Mughal Emperor Babur stood. Some Hindus believe that the mosque is built on the ruins of an ancient temple, marking the birthplace of Lord Ram.
After an intense discussion, India's top court has ordered for mediation among the parties that had moved to the court earlier against the 2010 Allahabad High Court verdict that had distributed the land equally among the three parties. The court said that there could be possibly a positive outcome through mediation. Jessica Taneja with video journalist Gopal, World is One, New Delhi.
So who are the three members who will be mediating on the Ayodhya land dispute case? Let's take a closer look. Spiritual guru Sri Ravi Shankar is known to have played a vital role in peace negotiations globally. Sri reacted to the news on Twitter, saying that one should achieve the goal of ending long-standing conflicts positively. But Hyderabad lawmaker Asaduddin Owaisi objected to the nomination of Sri in the panel on the grounds that he is not a neutral party to the dispute. Now, the second member on the panel is Advocate Sri Ram Panchu. He is no stranger to the job. He is credited with making mediation an important part of India's legal system. He is the founder of the mediation chambers that offers services in mediation. He set up India's first court-annexed mediation centre back in 2005 and has a long history of mediating a large number of complex and high-value disputes across a range of commercial, corporate and contractual disputes. Retired Justice Jaish-e-Mohammed Ibrahim Khalifullah chairs the panel as well. With a specialization in labour law, Justice Khalifullah served in various district courts, the Madras High Court and India's top court in civil, labour and company matters. He served as standing counsel for public sector undertakings. After the top court's order, Justice Khalifullah said that the panel will do its best to resolve the matter amicably.
Supreme Court has appointed a mediation committee headed by me. I am yet to receive the order copy. Therefore, for the present, I can only say that if the committee has been constituted, we will take every effort to resolve the dispute.
The Ram Temple Babri Mosque dispute has been on for decades. Here's what has happened in the case so far. 1528, the Babri Masjid was built by Mir Baqi, commander of the Mughal Emperor Babur. Now, 1885, a Hindu priest files the first court case and seeks permission to build a canopy outside the mosque. The court rejected his plea. In December 1949, idols of Lord Ram were placed inside the Babri Mosque by Hindu activists. A year later, two suits were filed in a district court, one to secure the rights of worship and the second to continue worship and allow idols. In 1959, the Nirmohi Akhada filed a plea seeking possession of the site. 2 years later, in 1961, the Sunni Waqf Board seeks possession of the site. Then, in 1986, court opens up for the site for Hindu worshippers. 6 years later, in 1992, the Babri Mosque is demolished. In 1993, the Indian government acquires 67 acres of land, including the disputed site, through an act. The case drags on for the next 6 years. Then in 2010, the Allahabad High Court orders a three-way division of the 2.77 acres of disputed land. In 2011, India's top court stays the Allahabad High Court verdict. 5 years later, a fresh plea is filed in the apex courts seeking a construction of the Ram Temple on the disputed site. In February 2018, India's top court begins hearing civil appeals in the case. In September of the same year, the top court declines to refer to a 5-judge constitution bench the issue of reconsideration of the observations in its 1994 judgment, but clarified that it would have no bearing on pending title suits. Now, in October, the court turns down an appeal for urgent hearing, says that the hearing will begin in January 2019. Now, on the 4th of January this year, the date of hearing was fixed for 10th January before a 5-judge bench.